Hey guys, I know it's Tuesday and I like to do videos on Wednesday because that's when my energy's high, but I have some things to share with you. So, just so you know, the veil right now is very thin. I always tell you guys this every year. Usually from the middle of September on through the holidays and stuff, the veil between our loved ones and us is so thin right now. Thinner than usual. That's the crazy part. Like, I've had people come out of the woodwork saying, man, this is what happened to me. I heard this, blah, 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 blah. And it seems usually by the middle of February, the veil starts kind of getting a little bit thicker. But this year, I feel like it's going to stay till Easter. And I think it's because more people awoke to the fact that our loved ones are closer than what we realize. So I'm going to put that out there. So talk to your loved ones because it's that time of year when they're going to send you a lot of signs and symbols or weird things, that we don't sometimes get. But on another note, I don't know. I want to say it was a year ago. I can't quite remember because all my days run together. I work 7 days a week. So everything runs together and I can't remember the exact time. But I remember like a year ago, I specifically said, it was a year ago or maybe at the beginning of January, I specifically said there was going to be some people taken down. Things are going to come to light. Just wait and you watch and see. And they are. So we all know about the P. Diddy stuff. Okay. That's one instance. That's the kind of things I was talking about. There's going to be some very famous people taken down for doing terrible, horrible things to others. And then today I was eating dinner and it just so happened the TV must have been on the news and I overheard them say Abercrombie and Fitch, the 3 CEOs or whatever, are taken down. They were arrested for the same kind of things. And I told you it's going to come and there's going to be so many different celebrities and musicians and politicians taken down for things, crimes against humanity, basically. Evil things. And I am loving every freaking minute of it because I want to cheer for these victims. I want their voices to be heard because this is the kind of thing, shady stuff that's been going on in the United States for a long, long time. And it's time that people stand up for themselves and for others because one person, all it took was one person telling their story for others to come out and have the strength to tell theirs also. And I'm loving it because it's time that these sadistic people get taken out. I don't care if you throw them in jail for the rest of their lives. I don't care. But it's time that these victims are heard. I've always hated Hollywood. I've been there. It's disgusting. It is just a cesspool. I call it Sin City. I don't even want to fly into their airport anymore because it's so gross. I've thought this for a long time. I went out there and visited, I think in 2018, I think it was. I'm not sure. And I said, I'll never come back because you see it on TV as something totally different. It looks beautiful. It looks like the rich and famous and blah, blah, blah. Everybody wants to see that, right? All this glamour and glitz, right? No, it is not that at all. It is the worst city I've ever been into in my entire life. And I've been to numerous cities around the United States. And I have to say LA is the grossest, most disgusting place I've ever been to. And I would not even wish my worst enemy to go visit that place. It's so gross. Yeah, you see the Hollywood Boulevard Walk of Fame, and that's not what Hollywood is. There's millions of homeless people everywhere. Maybe not millions, tons of homeless people everywhere. People out of their minds, whether they have mental illness or they're drug addicts. They'll just be walking down the road peeing on the sidewalk. They don't care. It's disgusting. You do not want to touch anything out there. I'm not lying. You do not. We got in, got out, seen it, done it. That's all we cared about. We were out. I said, I never want to go see that place again. It's so gross. I don't even want to fly into their airport. It's so disgusting. And something I do know is that some people who are religious that follow like the 10 Commandments and what have you, there is a commandment in that Bible. And there is like something similar to commandments in other religions also about having false or fictitious gods before the one and only God, Allah, Yeshua, whatever you call your God. Thou shalt not have strange gods before you. Well, when they talk about that, they're not just talking about you making up some God and believing in it. They're talking about humans, like celebrities, like musicians, idolizing politicians, idolizing Taylor Swift, idolizing things like that, that's wrong, because it's like you're putting someone, because of their stature or status, ahead of everything else in life. Like, you won't catch me going to a concert and falling head over heels because this girl or that guy is so famous. I've got to touch them, and I'm bawling hysterically because they're my idol. No, that's wrong. That's worshiping false idols. And it's cool because you see them on TV and then you go see them in person or whatever. I get that. It's cool. But to idolize them is a whole nother thing. Like, I'm not spending $2,000 to $4,000 on somebody's concert ticket. I don't give a shit who it is. It's not happening. That's greed in my book. Anyways, that's greed on their part. Anyways, so just so you know, I could care less if LA fell out in the ocean somewhere, but I just want you to know that we need to pray for those victims, and we need to pray for other victims to come forward, because there is so many more. And there is people that are going to be taken down. That's probably a household name, or you know them from TV or from the radio or from whatever. And I cannot wait, because it's time. Because one person had the courage to speak up. It gave strength to all these other victims to speak up. And that is a blessing in disguise. It's time that these people pay for their crimes against humanity. On another note, I am like hyper. Anyways, probably has nothing to do with my coffee I'm drinking, but anyways, on another note, I had a really strange occurrence this past weekend. And when I say the veil's really thin, it's really thin. So there is a family member of mine, and I'm just going to say it's my grandpa on my mom's side. And he's been passed away now for like 34 years. And I've always wondered, like, I can connect to a lot of my family members. They don't give me messages, but they will other people that knew them, or family members that know them. But I can feel their presence. Well, he's one of them I really haven't felt a whole bunch. So I always thought in my head, is it because he passed away so many years ago that connection just might not be as strong as some of the other people I know that's passed away? So what happened was, I visited a family member, and they gave me some things that was related to the Shack Tavern, which my grandpa S, I'll call him, my grandpa S, owned that bar at one time. And my other grandpa Nub, which I've talked about before, he owned the Cocktail Lounge. But at one time, they were partners with the Shack Tavern. So my grandpa S has passed away now for almost 34 years, or has been, in January to be 34 years. Been gone that long. He was young when he passed away. Well, my family member given me these antiques from the Shack Tavern, and they were in display cases, and they were matchbooks from the Shack Tavern, which was around in the 50s and early 60s. Okay, how crazy is that? So there's matchbooks, there's like a ticket, there's a little writing pad. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Okay, some of it was from Nubs, some of it was from the Shack Tavern. Well, what's crazy is Sunday I picked that stuff up, and there's like 5 or 6 things in there. I thought, I need to put these up in a safe place. So I put them inside my jewelry box where they'd be protected, right? So later on that night, Josh is asleep in his chair like always. And it's like 10:30, and I thought, well, I'm going to sit down in my chair and watch something funny to make me laugh, because I like to go to bed feeling like, happy-go-lucky, right? So I'm watching this funny movie about a GED. I don't even remember the name of it. It had a couple people in it. And all of a sudden I start hearing this man whistling this specific tune. And it was like the perfect pitch of whistle and perfect tone. And it sounds so artificial that I thought it was on the TV at first. And I thought, wait a minute, that teacher's talking to that student. There's nobody whistling on this show. So then I thought, well, that has to be an app I must have accidentally opened on my phone, or some kind of game. So I looked down at my phone, and my phone's black, but I can still hear this man whistling this perfect pitch and tone of a jingle. It sounds like a jingle. There's like a first part to it, and then there's a second part to this jingle, almost like, and it was specific, and it was so perfect that I thought, this is an app. It has to be. So my phone's black, so it's not my phone. So then I paid attention, I listened, and I realized where the whistle was coming from. So it's coming from over Josh's way. He's asleep. So I'm thinking, oh, he has something on his phone that he accidentally TikTok or something, and it's replaying over and over again or something. So I look over there, and we have an open concept house. So his chair kind of sits where you walk through to go to the open concept, kind of like kitchen dining room area. So I'm looking over there thinking it's his phone. And I look and I stand up and I'm like, his phone's off. Then all of a sudden I got this overwhelming feeling, you need to call your mom. She knows exactly who I am and she will know this song. So I was like, oh gosh. And then I realized, I think this is my Grandpa S. I'm like, whoa. So I go walking through my kitchen and he is compelling me to text her now. So, and I know my mom's going to kick my ass for saying this on here. I probably shouldn't even used her name, but whatever. I'll take the heat. Anyways, so I come out my garage so I don't wake Josh up. I'm texting my mom. I'm like, Mom, hey, are you up? And then I message her through Facebook, are you up? And then she's like, what's up? And then she just instantly calls me. So I said, okay, I have somebody here who is a whistler who can whistle the most beautiful, perfect pitch tones and sounds. And he's doing a jingle, like almost would remind you of a commercial jingle, or like some kind of saying, whistling some kind of funny saying or some kind of little song or something, but it's perfect. It does. I've never heard anybody be able to whistle so perfect in my life, right? Never. I've never heard anybody whistle like this. So I'm like, this is kind of crazy. And I was trying to, as I was walking out into the garage before me and her talked, I was trying to do it in my head, like dee 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 dee, you know, the sound of it, because I didn't know the song. I didn't know what he was whistling. I never heard the song before, but it sounded like a jingle almost. So when she calls me and I say, hey Mom, there's a guy in my kitchen living room area and he's whistling the specific like jingle or song, and it's so pretty and so perfect that I've never heard anybody be able to whistle like this. And I knew it was one of Grandpa S, but I wanted to see what my mom said, because even though I know I can do this, I always have self-doubt, guys. It's always there. The doubt's always there. And I'm like, I know better. I know I can do it, right? Damn it. I know I can do it. I knew who it was, but I'd never heard my grandpa whistle like this. So I was kind of thrown off, like, okay, I need to talk to my mom about this. So Mom, I tell her, I'm like, okay, there's a guy, it's male, and he's telling me whatever this thing is, right? And I can't even do it because I was singing it, trying to sing it, or so I know to tell her what it sounds like. So she says, I've been having some experiences the past 3 weeks that are related to my Grandpa S, right? So I'm like, okay. And I said, this whistle was so pitch perfect and so beautiful that I thought it had been artificial, like from the TV or my phone. There was just no way somebody could have a voice like that. My mom says, your Grandpa S was the most beautiful whistler. He could whistle anything. And it almost sounded like he was playing a flute when he whistled. It did not sound like he was doing an instrument, even though it was with his mouth. It was that perfect. I never knew that, because that was before my time, I guess, And I said, well, there was a specific jingle, and it was like 2 sections of it, but it sounded the same, like do-do-do-do-do. Then he kind of paused, and then do-do-do-do-do, finished the rest, right? She says, she sang this first song. She's like, is it this? I said, nope, it's not that. Not that at all. So then she's like, I know what it is. And she sang the song, 2 kind of like little sections, just like I said, like a separation, and it finished. And I'm like, that's it. I said, Mom, can you dee that so my brain can process it if that is the exact song. So my mom started to do it. And I said, that is the song. That is the whistle I heard. That is crazy. And she says, I just don't understand. She's like, I think he's trying to get some kind of message across, because the last 3 weeks I've been experiencing things related to her dad. I said, I don't know what it is, but because we were talking, I could still hear him like trying to get his 2 cents in. So I didn't really tell my mom the rest of everything he was saying, because me and her got off track, and she was talking about how beautiful her whistler her dad was, and I wanted her to reminisce, because them are good things she should remember, right? And I didn't want to butt in and say, well, your dad says blah, 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 blah. So after we get off the phone, I decided, okay, I've got to get to bed. It's like 11 o'clock or 11, almost midnight or whatever, and I'm tired. So I go walking in there, and he starts chuckling. I hear him starting to laugh, and he says to me, oh, now she's going to be up all night talking out loud to me. That's what he says, right? And I'm like, okay, gotta go to bed, Grandpa S. So I go over to my chair, finish watching my movies so I can get that out of my head, because I know what happens. If I hone in, I can keep going, and I don't stop. I will keep communicating with them until they fade out, right? So I had to get that out of my head. I had to go back to normal life to sever that connection so I could go to sleep, so I could go to work in the morning. So the next day I wake up, my mom calls me and she was like, I gotta tell you something. She's like, I had trouble sleeping last night. I was up. And I said, I already know. She's like, you already know? And I'm like, yeah, I already know. She's like, I was talking to my dad. I said, I know, out loud. He already told me. And she was like, what? And I said, yeah, after I got off the phone with you last night. He kind of chuckled about it, thought it was funny, and said, your mom's going to be talking to me out loud tonight, all night long or whatever. Going to be periodically saying things. So I already knew what she was going to tell me because he told me. So what was crazy was later on that day, I talked to her again after I come home from work. And she was like, I asked my dad, for specific things. This means this person. This means this person. This means this person, things that she wanted to find if the reason why he was coming through was related to certain people in her family. And I already knew what the answer was because he's already told me all this. He's telling me as I'm even talking to her. And she said something about a penny, right? And I said, yeah, I already know. It's going to be tails up and you're going to find it in the gravel. And she was like, you already know? And I'm like, yeah, because he's like telling me right now while I'm sitting here, what you're saying what it is. So I'm waiting because I know it's going to happen. And it might not be this week, it might be next week, but it's going to happen. And it's going to be a penny with the tail up. I already know. And then he talked about paths, and I can't go into detail about that, but my mom knew exactly what I was talking about. So that's my crazy story for the week. And I'm excited about it, though, because that's the one person that hasn't really come through to me to give a message to anybody, because I thought maybe it's because he passed away for so long ago that maybe he's at peace and he just doesn't have anything to say to any of us because he's probably like, you guys are all screwed up. You know what I mean? I don't have nothing to say. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, I just wanted to share that story with you. And that just goes to show you how thin the veil is. And it doesn't matter if it was 30 years ago or 3 months ago. Your family are right here. And they come through when they need to. When they feel like there's something to say or to pat you on the back or maybe give you a warning about the direction in life you're going. That's when they come through the most, or when you're hurting and they want to hug you and they can't physically. So spiritually, they send you something. And if you guys notice, my phone is doing weird flashes. I hope you guys can see this. It like starts blinking like weird. I don't know if that's because of my hand or what, maybe. Anyways, so I want to talk to you guys about that. And I just want you to know that I love you guys all so very much. I know that I am far and few between on videos, and I try my hardest not to be so worn out from work when I come home that I want to do a video, and then there's just nights I just can't do it. I'm praying that things get a little bit unstressful, and I've been saying this forever, and it's just, there's just a lot going on in this world, and it is affecting some things. In businesses and in just life in general for some of you who are struggling because inflation or whatever. And I'm praying for all of you. Believe me, every night I pray for everything you can think of. And I pray that, I'm like, guides, my ancestors, God, everybody help us get back on track again. We need our lives back. We need to be human again. And we're not right now. We're just all robots going through the freaking motions. And I don't want that for anybody. I want everybody to be able to enjoy their life with their family and their friends and do what they love and not feel like they have to stress over how they're going to put food on the table, how they're going to pay their bills, how they're going to get a car, or how they're going to pay for their car payment. I don't want people going through that. That's not what life is about. We're here to learn lessons. And whether they're bad lessons or good lessons, they're still lessons that we need to learn to heal our souls and make our souls whole again for when our day does come. So with that being said, I'm going to be a blubbermouth if I don't get off here right now, guys. You guys are going to hear of the 20 million stories I have about the bar and all the creepy stuff. not really creepy, but to some of the employees, it's creepy because they've never experienced things like that before. And in the bar, I'm surprised more people aren't in there trying to film in our bar to find out the kind of things that happen. So this morning when I walked in, I'll tell you this real quick. This morning when I walked in, my bartender was like, I was doing something and my phone was sitting on the counter and it just flew off onto the ground. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I just wanted to walk right out of here right then. I was freaked out. And I'm like, well, maybe they didn't like the way you were making the meatloaf. No, I don't know. I just, they're not creepy spirits that are in there. There's some of our loved ones that hang out when you're in there, or there's some past employees, past customers, or some of them are just roaming around, checking out the scenes. I mean, hey, we go there to have a good time, right? Why can't they? Anyways, I just want to say, believe, 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 and always believe in yourself. And I love you all so much. And I know my videos are far and few between, and I'm sorry for that. I'm trying my hardest to keep on the right track. And sometimes I run into bumps in the road where someone's attitude or someone's drama or someone's sadness or someone's something gets in the way of how I need to work, and I take on their emotion, and it sucks because if somebody's in a bad mood, I tend to sometimes, I try not to, but sometimes it rubs off on me and then I just don't feel like doing anything. So I'm trying to teach myself to block that again, because I've let my guard down for too long, and it's time to put my guard back up and my boxing gloves on and not let anybody's bullcrap get in my way. I mean, be there to help them, but don't take in so much of their emotion and pain, because it tends to drain my energy, and then it hinders me when I try to focus on a reading or someone or a spirit coming through. There's numerous times I've had spirits come through while I've been sitting in the bar and I don't say a word. And the reason is because usually during that time, someone's coming to me about, oh, blah, 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 or blah, 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 blah. And so my focus gets sidetracked from the spirit that's trying to tell me something to what is right here, right now in reality. And so I have to, work on, make sure my business is taken care of first, So anyways, love you all. Have a good night. And don't forget to pay attention to those signs and symbols and whispers at night, or the ringing in the ears. Sometimes it can be tinnitus. I got to say, this is for entertainment purposes only. But sometimes when you one ear, sometimes that's your loved ones trying to get something across to you. But first get it checked out by a doctor just in case. Anyways, love you. Believe, and always believe in yourself. Love you guys. Night. Have a good Tuesday. Have a good week. Have a good weekend.